Never knew what that was. You know where the mound of dirt is now?
Yeah.
Was that a solid building then?
Yes.
Okay.
That was the old wooden stand.
Yeah, I know. I used to hold those keys.
We found this building. That's where we got it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Some of them have got the actual numbers. So if you live in one of these houses, you had a First World War soldier.
Parts itself, was the horses, and of course whilst all that was going on, I mean the drovers used to, or the drivers used to have to pop into, of course, where Manor House Park is, the station, to the house itself.
Yeah.
Nobody does that, given up. I see my neighbour when I go back. Please ask him to come down. We don't. Yeah. They ran out. And they started painting all the...
You couldn't remember his name.
Yeah.
I don't know whether
They used to fly out.
that was Mr. Bagby's house.
Sorry, mate.
But there, yeah, that's where Tesco's is there.
They'll probably be able to show you right next to where you're standing.
collected some of his stuff,
Yes,
and
yes.
then it just this has
Point of finance and trade in Europe, when London became that, they didn't want all the street urchins. They didn't want the harmless imbeciles walking around and go, oh, hey, we want some nice streets because now we've got all these people coming over and we want to, so we're going to build 6. They actually built 6 of these facilities. So one was on the south side in Caterham, that took care of the south of London. Leavesden took care of the north of London. Well, I watch it.
All right. Steady.
It's all right, the knees are coming up.
Right. Good to see you, my dear.
And you,
Yes, indeed.
and to get people to understand is the
Yeah.
Basing House itself
Yes.
is a historical document. Until now, I've just been going to committee meetings.
Good.
And it's,
That's very good. No, I didn't know. Yes, yeah. That's right. Oh, look at that. Okay, got that, yes.
This is the bottom of my garden, well, as it was then.
All right. Yeah.
And the Hope cottages weren't there.
That's Langley. Well.
Yes, well, this is the area, you
Of course, yes.
I mean, and we're also
Yes, we know the universe revolves around Alice Langley, yeah. With his bloody apron,
I'm writing about it. It's quite a busy it's really lovely coming out to our lectures. Would you be happy for me to write about it in the paper?
Whole village turned out haymaking. Yeah.
Enjoying that.
Yes. Okay, yes. Yes. About each person. Wow.
Maybe it was some stations or something, but it wasn't local stations necessarily.
Natural George, are you?
Yes, I mean, the frown of this is
Yes. Yeah.
but speaking to a chap who worked there when they were delivery people.
There was a lot of women who were flying Spitfires and other ones back to
yes.
fields. They did a good job.
Yeah.
And I'm chairman of Three Rivers District Council. So, yeah, a buffet lunch with Councillor Button, and they just finished a tour there, and then we went down to the traffic control bit afterwards. Yeah. So, this is great. Yeah, I've never been here, I really haven't. And
You haven't been on one of my walking tours?
No. Will you do one for me?
Yes, we've actually got one planned. See pantos and the patients had a band, the staff had a band. In fact, when they were hiring people, they actually said you'll get a job if you can read and write, but if you are musically or athletically inclined, your chances are better. That was actually in one of the advertisements.
Really?
For recruiting here. When the hospital took over all of this, there was 187 acres of health facility. What I find very interesting, though, is because a company called Demand has taken over, or did some time ago, take over the church, the old church. Mr. Reed, sir, are you free? This
Hi,
is
Stephen. I'm Councillor Andrew Scarf,
He's
and
chairman.
I'm chairman of Three Rivers District Council. So, is this your baby?
It is.
Right. Okay. And was it in a bad shape when you
No, it's
acquired it?
actually in the same condition as it is now. I brought it off of Fairfield Flight Service.
Oh yeah. Okay. So it's in very good condition because most of it's aluminium, isn't it?
Yes.
Fair chunk of it.
This is 1971, so it's
Yeah. Quite a baby. Yeah.
Name Paul on the corner.
John.
Oh, it's John on the corner.
This is my first time I've been to Leavesden Country Park, and it's just a fabulous experience.
Can you tell me why you like to come to Leavesden?
Well, as chairman, one of the things that's really surprising me is what facilities are available in Three Rivers, and this is a place that I want to get a conducted tour around.
So that's Shirley Road.
Second one in.
I'd like to run away right now, to tell you the truth, but
Well, here we go.
thank you for joining me. My name is Mr. C. Chapman, and I happen to be the head steward for the Leavesden Asylum, located here in lovely Abbots Langley Parish. It's my duty as the steward of this fine hospital to make sure that all the directions of the board of directors and all other rules and regulations and record keeping is done in spotless order. And that's what I've been doing since I started in 1889. So I've been doing it for quite a while. There's a lot of history that will be made at this place, so we're just going to take a short little walk, a brief walk through time, just to see what it was like to work at an asylum for the local, the London-based idiots and imbeciles. Now, I know some of you in the future would say asylum is a terrible word to use. Well, but when we started this, thanks to the Metropolitan Asylum Board, we started it because asylum was actually a real definition. And back then the definition was it was a safe place of refuge. And that's what we were trying to do when we started the Metropolitan Asylum Board in 1886. So we started that because we wanted to take all the people that were homeless, all the people that needed care, all the people that weren't able to take care of themselves. We wanted to get them off the streets of the new metropolis of London. London by now is becoming quite the thing. It's being viewed as the place to come from all over the world to visit. So we didn't want too much riffraff on the streets. So we decided that we were going to build 6 of these facilities. The one here at Leavesden takes care of the north of London. The one in Caterham takes care of the south of London. And there were 2 others, one on the west side of London, one on the east side of London. When we started this facility, it took us 2 years to build it. We started in 1868. October 1st, 1870, we opened our doors. Now, it was originally only built for 1,500 people. Unfortunately, because of the numbers we had in London at the time, we ended up with 1,969. 860 some of those were women, 700 and some were men. So you can see quite clearly just which one is the craziest sex. I usually say that and I get a chuckle, and then somebody will always say, yes, but it's you men that make us that way. Well, fair enough, ladies. I suppose it is. So when we built this, we wanted to build it here because it was outside of Watford. Watford is a major industrial place, a major hub. It's a big city. It has a train, so we can build it out here, but we didn't want to build it too close. So we extended it the long distance of 3 miles. So we're way out in the country here. It takes a long time to get from Watford to here. So we had to build a special road. So from the end of Watford in the Garston area, actually where the All Saints Church is, the Parish of All Saints Church, Leavesden, we started to build a road from there, and we built it all the way up here to the asylum. Since this was the only thing that was here at the time, we called it Asylum Road. Now in the future, when this institution becomes more of an educational facility for mental health nursing and an industrial school, they'll change the name of the road to College Road. So that's why College Road has its name, and it's been named that way since 1949. Your basic qualifications for working at a hospital like this, back in my time, was that you could read or write. However, if you were musically or athletically inclined, your chances of employment were a bit better. Because we did, after all, in the future have one of the most outstanding football clubs, Leavesden Hospital Football Club, ever created since 1902. So it was quite fun. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to take a quick walk around. We may bump into some of my friends, some of my colleagues, some of the other people that would have been working here in an asylum at that time. So, if you want to follow me, I'm going to go right through the middle, and we'll see what we find. Each ward had one floor, had 3 floors on it, and each floor had 60 people, 60 of our inmates. And unfortunately, back in my time, they did call them inmates, because basically we just wanted to lock them up and keep them off the streets and keep everybody safe. As mental health education and knowledge got a bit better, we would call them something different. So if we run into the head matron, she may talk to you about that. So this is one of the buildings. The first building was there. You can see behind me the open spaces between the trees. So that's where the building stood. And they actually started back there from where we were, and they went almost to that road there, which is the original service road into the asylum, into the hospital. You would come through there with your horses and carts. You would go up to the front of the administration building, turn around, come back out this one. So that's where the gatehouse was. So behind me again is all the men's wards. The women's wards on the other side of the street were all the same, just in a different location.
It was something like 70-year-old man raises money for peace expenses.
Lovely. I think it's wonderful. Now we've left the whole hospital complex, which is where I would have worked. The administration building, you can see, there's a little picture of it right over there. One of those newfangled camera things has taken a photograph of what it looked like. So that's what it would have, we're now into the area where, this is where we would have had all the farming and all the grounds works and all the maintenance and everything. This is where we're getting into that. The last building would have been there. And with any large hospital where you did have a lot of sick people and everything, you would have had to have some place to take care of them. So we actually put the mortuary right where the playground is now. In the past, when I did do tours with the younger people, I never really told them because they didn't know that was the mortuary. So, but we did find out in the late 1890s, in 1891, in my future, you would see that the recreation building, which is now housing up there, we created that because we started to learn that games, music, entertainment, that was a real good therapy for the people that were suffering from a lot of mental health illnesses at that time. So we did that there. This actually, the building behind us here actually started out as one of the sports pavilions. So when we had games and fetes and playtime over here for the patients, we would have a sports pavilion there for everybody else. In the later years, in the future, you'll see that turned into the art building. Again, they wanted to make sure that there was a building for people to do arts as a good bit of therapy. We are pretty much in the center of the whole facility here, and I'm hoping maybe, because myself and my colleagues and everything in the future, we will be leaving a lot of artifacts and letters and some really good history. So we're hoping that maybe in the future sometime, there's going to be a facility where you can all come and visit this stuff on a regular basis. And maybe right here would be a good place to have such as a heritage center or a wildlife center or someplace that children can come and learn more about the hospital. So we'll have to see what the future holds for us. Maybe here someday in the future we'll see a facility like that. So again, we'll just keep walking this way. Mrs. Wellington, a moment of your time, please.
Only 1 minute, Mr. Chapman. I have many things to take care of and no time for dilly-dallying.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Wellington is our head matron and head nurse here at the hospital. She's in charge of our nursing services and everything. And beside her, as usual, is the ever-lovely Nurse Felicity.
Oh, Mr. Chapman, you're such a talker.
Oh, no talk, Mrs. Felicity. If I was a younger man, I would not be doing anything. Mrs. Wellington, could you just tell my friends here what it's like running an institution that has this many patients?
Well, it didn't start out well, to be sure. When the hospital was first built, we were only designed to house 1,500 patients. And when our doors officially opened on October 1968, we had over 1,969 staff admitted into our wards. Can you imagine trying to provide any proper care when we only had 240 members of staff?
Most of our staff weren't even trained medical nurses.
Yes, imagine that. We did find many a good, hard-working staff from places such as Liverpool, and even as far as the Commonwealth of Mauritius. A good thing, as I would say, it cost an outrageous sum of £140,000 to build this hospital.
That's £89, 4 shillings and 10 pence.
Yes, imagine that. However, we did have much support from many a notable person in the town when raising awareness about the poor in the town, especially the large amount of orphan street children.
Who are some of these supporters, Mrs. Wellington?
My mentor and originator of all modern-day nursing techniques, Mrs. Florence Nightingale.
Very well. And who was taking care of the needs of the 769 orphans that were over at St. Pancras Workhouse?
Well, that cause was taken up many years before the hospital opened by notable author Mr. Charles Dickens.
Very good.
He penned many stories about the terrible conditions that the orphan children live in. He penned an especially famous one, but I can't for the life of me remember what it's called. Yes, nurse, before you burst your seams.
Oliver Twist.
Yeah, very good, very good. Nurse Felicity, what was it like working here as a nurse back in our time?
Well, I mean, I was trained as a medical nurse, and I was pretty happy to move over to this facility. And I actually hear they're building 2 colleges to train future medical staff. But I mean, we've come a long way since the 1870s when we opened our doors. Back then, we used to call our patients inmates before doctors figured out it was actually medical illness that was bothering them. Mental illness even, I must say. A lot of our patients, when we figured out that they wouldn't be able to take care of themselves and they'd be there for the rest of their lives, then we started calling them residents.
So it has improved a bit. And your accommodations here?
Yeah, I live just over there.
And your salary is a whopping...
Well, I get paid £15 a year.
Oh,
I think I do pretty well.
Very good, ladies. Thank you very much for your time. If you'd like to join my friends and I on the rest of the walk, please do. So you can imagine with a facility that covers 84 acres, and it goes from what we call Asylum Road all the way to Woodside Road and all the way over to what is East Lane and Tibbs Hill. That was the 84 acres that this hospital took up during my time. So you can imagine with all the numbers of people, 2,400, you would have to have a lot of work done, and you'd have to, because we didn't have any way of delivering food, which I understand is done in the future. We had to grow everything ourselves. In fact, we were very self-sufficient. We took care of our own shoes. We took care of our own mattresses. We did our own cooking. We did our own laundry. We manufactured as much as we could in-house. Myself, I would make sure that any supplies that came in, on the odd occasion where we felt it was a good thing to do, we'd get cartloads of lemons to come in, and I had to inspect every one. My favorite one, though, is I would never accept any poor flour. We processed flour right over there, and I wouldn't accept it if it wasn't good for the hospital. So obviously it was a big day, it was a big job to take care of feeding everybody. So luckily we have Mr. Adams, who is our groundskeeper. Mr. Adams, I can see you're taking care of your fences again today.
Oh, yes, sir. I see you bring a lot of friends with you today,
Yes,
sir.
I have. A few of them have been following me around, yes?
Well, I'll let you know that, of course, as the local farmhand here, I've been tending to the 42 acres of land that I have here. And of course, also, I've been growing the wheat, the oats, and the sugar beets that I have here. For myself, my wife, the staff, and the inmates.
Patients, you mean?
Oh, yes, I do mean the patients.
Patients, yes.
And of course, I look after the 2 chicken sheds that are over there, and of course the big pig farm that's at the back, and of course I've been milking the cows as well, sir.
It's very good. Well, what did you do for fruit?
Oh, for fruit, we have an agreement with the workhouse just over there. We get a lovely grouping of preservatives and jellies, which are beautiful for this time of year.
I'm sure they are. And for your accommodations and everything, it must be a hard day for you.
Well, it's not as hard as me, but for the 62 workers that I have working for me as well, sir, the patients, they put in a hard day's work. But I earn a nice 25 shilling a week for me and my wife, who have a cottage just over there.
Very good, very good.
Lovely day.
So you can see how much it would take to run this place and how many acres we had to harvest. Now, I'd really love to continue on, but we have just a real short amount of time here for this quick little tour, this brief walk through history. We actually will be organizing a longer one a bit later. But if I could just take the opportunity to introduce some of my other colleagues here, if you'd like to know just exactly who we are in real life, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce our cast. We have at the end Miss Helen Byrne, playing the matron, the ever-sour matron, Sophie Monaco, and the ever-hard-working Mr. Dale Adams. And I've been your humble host for the trip, Martin Brooks. So we're going back to our displays. If you want to ask any questions, we'd all like to talk to you some more. So thank you very much. I think the shortest way is going to be right there.